right and left takes the must-be oikein erityismaa vähän. The medium right one opens down.
Good evening and welcome to the Network Q Rally of Great Britain. It's been an incident-packed rally that saw the elimination of the top two in the championship, Colin McRae and Tommy Mäkinen, on yesterday's opening leg. But even more drama has unfolded today. We begin our coverage of leg 2 with an incident involving Ford's Carlos Sainz. The former world champion had an accident on the Brevka stage and 13 spectators were taken to hospital. None were in a life-threatening condition and 9 have since been discharged. Mark James reports.
The accident on the rally's 11th special stage brought a swift response from the rescue services, while the rally itself was thrown into chaos.
Give them the reroute, turn round, back to service. Cancel. Yeah.
The following stage was also cancelled, and the crews were told to return to the service area on the outskirts of Swansea. The stunned looks said it all.
Checking in time is the start time for the road section. They won't get the 3 minutes.
In all, 9 crews made it through stage 11 before it was halted, and the remainder were all given a nominal time. Not that that mattered in the circumstances, as Richard Burns told our reporter Peter Slater.
This is not how you wanted the day to end, I would imagine, not how anybody wanted the day to end.
No, of course not. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're a driver or part of the team or spectators or whoever you are. It's very disappointing to hear when something like that happens.
Was there any indication as the day's been going on that the spectators were getting a bit too close, or what could you see?
No, I mean, the spectators are standing always by the road, and it's very difficult to say what's dangerous and what's not dangerous. Even if you're standing a long way from the road, if a car has a big enough accident, it could hit you. So it's very difficult to say that they've been in difficult places.
It just kind of puts everything else into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, it doesn't matter who you are. Just because we're drivers doesn't mean we're anywhere removed from the feeling that everybody has of just hope that everybody is okay.
Carlos Sainz himself was clearly shaken by the accident. Ford's director of motorsport, Martin Whittaker, was quickly on hand to offer words of support for his driver. But it was clear that Sainz's thoughts were on what had happened, and to continue in the rally was unthinkable.
In response to the accident, understandably, Ford withdrew Carlos Sainz from the rally. It was later learnt that their third driver, Mark Higgins, was also retired. As you can imagine, this kind of thing affects everyone, especially those involved.
Malcolm, it's a very distressing afternoon, I think, for everybody. What's the team's reaction to what's happened?
Yeah, very distressing. On stage 11 this afternoon, there was an accident involving Carlos Sainz, and also involved were spectators. Sadly, some of these spectators have been injured, and as a result of that, we've now decided to withdraw Carlos Sainz and Mark Higgins from the event. We now obviously have to look and work very closely with the authorities, the organisers, to see exactly what happened and what can be done in the future to address the situation.
Now, you know Carlos better than I do, but I think those of us who do know him feel that he would be genuinely very, very upset by what happened this afternoon. Have you spoken to him, and what is his state at the moment?
Yes, I have spoken to him. As you can imagine, he's very, very distressed at the situation. And I think the situation that he was in, I mean, there's no way that he would have wanted to continue the type of person that he is, and obviously, with injured people. So I think, at the end of the day, him and Lewis are both very, very upset about the whole situation.
But we still don't know enough about it really to say anything more at this stage.
No, we don't know the extent of the injuries or anything like that at the moment, so it'd be unfair to comment. but we've taken the decision in the interest of what has happened. And as I mentioned before, let's just hope that we can work with the authorities and the relevant people and try and address the situation and understand exactly what happened.
And just a genuine accident. It doesn't sound like there was anything mechanical went wrong on the car. Or?
No, absolutely not. I mean, the car is still drivable. There is some damage to the front of the car. I haven't seen it, but the people that have retrieved the car have told me that there is some damage, but completely drivable and still in a roadworthy condition.
It's just an accident in the genuine term of the word. It's just an absolute accident.
Well, it certainly appears to be that way at the moment, but obviously we need to investigate and look into the whole situation.
As you know, in stage number, don't remember which one, we have gone off the road, and unfortunately we have hit some spectators or marshals. I'm not so sure about it, which as we know now, there were few children involved. The accident came after crest. It was braking point, which it was quite slippery. Yes, we went straight, couldn't stop the car, and we hit the car and we hit the spectators or marshal. I think was I'm not so sure what was exactly there. We realized immediately it was some injury, so we pressed the SOS button. We advised our team, and the only thing I can tell you is that the next 4 hours was not very nice until we realized nothing serious happened. So I'm really happy that the people involved are not very bad injured, and I feel sorry about that.
Understandably, a very emotional Carlos Sainz at a press conference earlier this evening in Cardiff. Now, the Sainz accident happened around mid-afternoon today, so there was 1.5 days of rallying prior to it. If you've missed any of the action so far, let's update you on yesterday's highlights.
Leg 1 began dry but bitterly cold. Championship leader and crowd favourite Colin McRae moved into an early lead, with Richard Burns preferring to play the waiting game, a tactic which looked to be paying off. A puncture and then brake problems cost precious seconds for the title outsider Carlos Sainz, while for Tommy Mäkinen, the Network Q and his championship bid ended with broken suspension on the very first Forest stage.
Sad for everybody. It is last event, and we did hard work after Australia to improve our car, and it felt good, and it was very good confidence for the rally, but it seems to be sometimes very difficult.
Fastest times on both stages 3 and 4 meant that the reigning world champion Marcus Gronholm snatched the lead, but by then Colin McRae had joined Tommy Mäkinen on an ever-increasing list of retirements.
5 left plus, cut into 6.
A spectacular exit for McRae. His hopes of a second world title now rested with Burns finishing 5th or lower.
I made a mistake. I cut a corner just a bit too much, and there was a hole in the inside, and it flipped the car upside down.
Desperately disappointing for you.
Yeah, it is, but we were trying to win the championship, and things like that can happen. I'm just sorry for the whole team. It was so near, but we haven't got it again.
Richard Burns and co-driver Robert Reid finished the day in 2nd place, nearly 16 seconds ahead of the crew in 3rd, Peugeot's Harry Rovanperä and Risto Pietiläinen. But it was Marcus Gronholm and Timo Rautiainen who led the rally, despite a heart-stopping moment on the day's last stage.
Jatkuu vasen täysliukas. Vasen täysliukas ja nyppytäys.
So, after one of the most incident-packed days of the season, this was how things stood at the end of leg 1.
To lose the top two in the championship yesterday in the space of 2 stages bordered on unbelievable, and the attention then swept abruptly Richard Burns' way. The Subaru star only needs to finish in the top 4 in this rally to deny McRae his second world crown and claim his first. But early this morning, Subaru were given a scare. When trying to leave Parc Fermé this morning, Burns' car struggled to start. Immediately, most thought the worst. But once Burns and co-driver Robert Reid replaced the spark plug leads, they were able to make it to the first service and get on with the day.
The car wouldn't start out of Parc Fermé. I mean, I tried, and there's like a routine for that. You know, if it doesn't start first time, then we have to push the car out of Parc Fermé and change the spark plugs once we're out of the control. So that's what we did.
Heart-stopping moment for you.
Yeah, not very pleasant, but like a control panic. It's happened before. We know what to do, so not too bad.
So an anxious start to the day for the man who has it all to win this weekend. Now, originally today's schedule had the competitors down to cover 4 forest stages prior to the Sainz accident. So let's join Tiff Needell as he brings us up to date on today's opening 2 stages.
The opening stage of the day was the longest of the rally, 46.5 kilometres of slippery forest tracks with hazards at every turn. But for Richard Burns, it was a far easier task than changing the plugs of his Subaru's engine. He started the day as he hoped to finish it, a steady 4th. The Peugeots were quickest again, the French équipe determined to at least retain their manufacturer's crown. Marcus Gronholm was fastest to further extend his lead in the rally, with Harry Rovanperä just 7 seconds slower and now only 2 seconds off Burns' second place. The third 2:06 of Didier Auriol didn't have such a good morning though. Off the road and in a ditch for 2 minutes. He dropped from 4th to 10th, handing his place to Carlos Sainz, who was 3rd fastest through the stage, but 12 seconds slower than Rovanperä.
Trasante izquierda rápida menos, se cierra, para uno largo, derecha buena, paso corta, abrirse uno.
Freddie Loix must have had a good breakfast because he had his best stage so far, going 5th fastest. He was now 9th.
Opent zeer lang. 100. Even links om rechts 150, rond, couperen, borduur. 175, links 110 over top.
Hyundai continued to have a good rally of Great Britain, with Alistair McRae now 5th overall.
30. K left minus, tight to Narazine, care don't cut. Straight 100. Flat left in. 70. Flat right and flat left. Straight 100.
And teammate Kenneth Eriksson 7th. In the Hyundai sandwich is the Skoda of Armin Schwartz, a driver who switches to the Korean manufacturer for next season. Mark Higgins had a frustrating morning without 5th gear, losing time and dropping to 8th. A new gearbox would be needed before the next stage. The leading privateer was Neil Weirden, going great guns in his rented Subaru, 9th fastest through the stage and now 11th overall.
For rally leader Marcus Gronholm, it was a routine stop. The morning had run in the same fashion as his entire rally, smooth and uneventful. The outgoing world champion was cool and unflustered, as he and his Peugeot 206 looked strong. Championship hopeful Richard Burns returned to the service park under better circumstances than earlier in the day. After the British driver's early morning Parc Fermé hiccup with wet spark plug leads, the Subaru pilot and his car were back on track, and he was in a positive frame of mind.
Good to get going, yeah, eventually we did. It was a good first stage, quite foggy, but normal condition, quite nice.
And has being in the car helped you kind of forget a little bit about the Parc Fermé incident?
Yeah, it doesn't take long. I mean, well, you concentrate on what you got to do, you know, that's just something that happened.
Didier Auriol's day didn't start well as the Frenchman ran into problems on the day's opening stage. The Peugeot's undercarriage was damaged and the team were forced to work harder than normal in the 20-minute service.
After the start 1 kilometer, it was a long straight and big braking on the junction, slow junction, and I missed a little bit the braking and we go a little bit on the ditch. But the car don't try to come back on the road, so we need to wait spectator, so we lose a lot of time.
Ford's third driver, Mark Higgins, had an eventful morning. A puncture and losing 4th and 5th gear caused frantic activity in the Ford camp. The mechanics replaced the Focus's gearbox, hardly the easiest job in the short service time. Team boss Malcolm Wilson observed the slick exchange and Higgins knew what was needed next.
Just to keep it going. I mean, there's a couple of cars got back ahead of us. I think we can get past them again. Just play it by ear, get comfortable, you know, and enjoy the event. It's a hell of an experience to be in one of these cars with this sort of team, so make the most of it.
Even for you?
Definitely for me, yeah.
Stage 10 was the first run through the 28 kilometres of Margam, which will also be used for the last stage of the rally. For Marcus Gronholm, it doubtless brought back happy memories of taking the driver's title a year ago. Now all he can do is win the rally and claim the manufacturer's crown for Peugeot, and he was fastest once again, his lead now over a minute.
Tiukka 5 ja oikein nopea yli nypyn. 5 ja oikein helppo pidä sisällä. 8, vasen nopea kirra ja heti oikein hidan risteys. 5 ja oikein eri, ei sisälle. 8, oikealle ja vasen hidas.
For Richard Burns and Robert Reed, it was hopefully a dress rehearsal for their own drive to the title.
Race 60, 150.
At the end of the stage, they were second fastest, and surely both had their minds on what might be tomorrow. Carlos Sainz was third fastest, but he was still fourth overall, 1.5 minutes off third place. Alistair McRae was fifth fastest, 10 seconds slower than Sainz, but happy to be having a very strong run in fifth place. Mark Higgins, with his gearbox woes over, was just 1.6 seconds slower than his British rival, moved himself back to 7th overall, now just 11.9 seconds behind Armin Schwartz's Skoda, which was 7th fastest through Margam. Harry Rovanperä, having got to within 2 seconds of Richard Burns, had only managed 6th fastest, dropping 14.5 seconds. And teammate Didier Auriol was even slower, 8th fastest, never happy if there's any fog around. Another unhappy man was Freddie Loix. Despite his early pace, he was now suffering gear selection problems, and his Mitsubishi was soon to join Makinen's on the retirements list. Kenneth Eriksson is part of a three-way fight for 6th place, but he was now 0.9 of a second behind Higgins after only setting the 9th fastest time. Neil Weirden was now just a minute behind this battle and was keen to join them. But he just cut things a bit too tight.
Gauche 30 plus, très étroit, droite 30. 30 plus, très étroit, droite 30.
This allowed Bruno Thierry to squeeze back past in his Skoda and rid himself of the embarrassment of being beaten by a privateer.
The place we went off here, we've just clipped the wall on the inside of the corner. It's notorious. Every year it's the
piece of road, but this year I was just maybe 2 inches too close to the wall, and it's literally just hit the wheel and bent the steering, well, broken the steering rack. So we can't continue down this bit of road because we've got a long road section as well. So unfortunately, that's it. It's a very difficult event. The conditions and the fog and everything, it's very, very hard. Ironically, I retired about 500 metres from this very spot last year, so it isn't my favourite stage.
Ever since the early stages of yesterday's opening leg, this has been a Peugeot-dominated rally. Marcus Gronholm, things are going very well.
Yeah, it's going very well. I'm very happy with the car and with my performance, so it looks good.
Now, although there's no pressure on you in terms of the World Championship, the pressure's still there for the manufacturer's title.
Yeah, it's still there, so I can't do any mistakes, but I want to keep the same speed to be confident and concentrate. But okay, I can maybe slow down a bit now.
Now, we saw you have a little bit of a run-off last night in the night stage. Is that the only problem?
Yeah, that's the only problem. I was a little bit too wide, and there was a lot of mud, and it catch me nearly out of the road.
I guess it wouldn't be too bad just to add an extra rally win to your total too this weekend, huh?
I hope, yes, but still it's a long way to go.
What do you make of the whole rally? Because it's an interesting one, isn't it, with Tommy and Colin going out yesterday, and Richard doesn't seem to be aggressively chasing you. He's happy to sit where he is.
Yes, of course, because he have to take the title and he don't need to win, so of course he is not pushing me.
Next best Peugeot was the third-placed Harry Rovanperä. The reliable Finn was doing more than holding his end up and consolidating the French firm's grip on the manufacturer's title.
Not so bad in this moment, but we have the long way today, evening and afternoon, and we will see.
There's been no significant problems, though, has there?
No. In last stages, staying one rocks on the road, and I hit quite hard in the front, and now we changed the steering rack, but after that it's okay.
You feeling confident for that final podium position?
That is tomorrow afternoon problems, we will see.
Alistair McRae's service area was less tense today in comparison to yesterday. The Scot maintained his position as top-placed Hyundai and in the championship points. After seeing his older brother Colin bow out yesterday, Alistair was doing all he could to fly the family flag as high as possible, but the campaign wasn't without problems.
We had a hydraulic diff problem in the first stage, which dropped us a bit of time. Not a minute, but it dropped us a bit of time. But basically, I would say Marcus is just going very well.
You're still currently fifth. You're maintaining that fifth. How important is it for you to get World Championship points in your farewell rally for Hyundai?
Yeah, I mean, I want to finish the year off as best possible. Fifth would be good, but higher up would be even better. So we'll just see what happens. We're pushing as hard as possible. See what happens with the guys in front of us.
All up, has it been a good rally for you so far?
So far, been good. Only the one problem this morning with the diff. Apart from that, the car's been 100% really good.
This weather's not looking particularly great at the moment. Is this Welsh weather or Scottish weather?
No, it's Welsh weather. Scotland's 70 degrees and sunshine at the moment.
The Mitsubishi team had their work cut out attending to Freddie Leux's ongoing gearbox problems, and sadly the Belgian wouldn't make it to the next stage.
This morning we had a problem with the gearbox. Came in the service, changed the gearbox, started again on the next stage, and straight away we had the same problem, but we ran out of gearboxes and we had to stop.
For those of you who have just joined us, the drama of the Network Q Rally of Great Britain continued today with an unfortunate accident involving Ford's Carlos Sainz and some rally spectators. 13 people were taken to hospital, none were in a life-threatening condition, and 9 have since been discharged. At the final service, the rally leader shared his thoughts. How does it affect you and your concentration in the whole rally?
Okay, no, we didn't drove after that, so it's quite okay, but it's not so nice to hear.
Corrado, firstly, congratulations on winning the manufacturer's title, but I'm sure that's not the way that you wanted to win it.
Of course not, even though we are not responsible of the accident, and even though I think that our friends Ford decision of withdrawing Carlos' car has been a difficult decision to be taken. So I'm sad for the injured spectators. I hope that it's not too important for them. It's true that after this decision from Ford, we are arithmetically manufacturer world champions. This was the target Peugeot had fixed to us, and we have achieved it for the second year in a row, which is quite extraordinary. But still in our mind, we have a leg to race tomorrow is the last day of the Great Britain Rally. We really would like our drivers to go for it. We like the victory because only the victory is tasteful. We have a lion on the bonnet of our cars, and I would say a lion on our heart. So it's good for all the workers in the factories, all the personnel, all the dealers. It's good for us. Let us taste the victory tomorrow. So far, we'll be spending a quieter night, relaxing and concentrating on the job we have still to do.
Subaru's Richard Burns and Robert Reid are less than 24 hours away from becoming world champions. And as the main man enjoyed some crowd support, Reid explained just how focused and determined the British pair are to achieve their goal.
It's long days, and 3 days is a long time. So, yeah, sometimes we talk, sometimes we don't. But, you know, when you've been co-driver somebody for as long as I have with Richard, then you get to know the moods pretty well, and you can pick up when to speak and when not to.
And what's his mood like at the moment?
Yeah, good. I mean, we're going at a speed that hopefully is fast enough to maintain concentration, but not so fast that we take risks. So anytime there's something dodgy, some mud or some fog, then we're just slowing down.
Even though we'd had the day's last service area, one more stage remained, the head-to-head Super Special in Cardiff Bay, and there was also one more scare for Burns and Reid. The pair arrived at the Super Special having picked up a 10-second road penalty. A starter motor change at the final service area took longer than expected, and the Subaru was a minute late leaving Velindre. Richard then had to stop on the road section to finish the job, but no further time was lost, and he'll start leg 3 in second place. The Super Special did provide a few surprises, however. Fastest was the Hyundai of Alistair McRae. He and David Senior are now on course to equal their best ever result of 4th, while second quickest and 5th overall was Armin Schwartz's Skoda. Both drivers, of course, on their final events for their respective teams. The Super Special was also unusual in that it wasn't a Peugeot which set the fastest time. Rally leader Marcus Gronholm took it relatively cautiously, and so we'll head into the final day with an advantage of over a minute and a half over Burns. Richard, however, will be more than happy with that second place. He's still on course for the World Drivers' title. Harry Rovanperä is third tonight. Peugeot now assured of the manufacturer's crown, while Alistair McRae, Armin Schwartz and Kenneth Eriksson round off the top 6.
So at the end of yet another eventful day at the Network Q Rally of Great Britain, on behalf of everyone here, our thoughts are with those involved in today's accident. Leg 3, the final and deciding leg, is tomorrow, and we could well see the crowning of a British World Rally champion.
Time 16.38.